Just the understanding that their team is going to keep attacking. They're going to keep coming. They have a group of guys with an indomitable will to compete. They've caught a lot of teams off guard. They've come back from big deficits like they did against Toronto 2 nights ago, whatever it was. And, White's a guy that can go for 40. We've seen it. So, after he had 20 in the first 12 minutes of the game or whatever it was, or the first 9 minutes he played or whatever it was, we did better. A lot of them were transition, and the game has changed now to where, when 5 guys are running at you, you can't be looking for your man. You got to go get the nearest man, and you got to help a teammate get that nearest man, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we did better there. But that team's playing hard. They're playing free with no cares in the world, and they're very, very dangerous.
That's a career high in scoring for Aaron Nesmith. What to you ignited that, and what allowed it to, be as good as he was today?
I thought he was just really solid the entire game. He got off to a good start. I think he saw the ball go in the basket early, and then he's reading the game better than he ever has. His running is really good. He's able to get some easy transition buckets mixed in. He's not just a one-dimensional three-point shooter, and defensively, he's one of our best guys. So really happy for him. He's getting a big chunk of minutes right now with Mathurin out, and we needed it tonight.
What's been your assessment of how Jairus has played these last 2 games with some rotation opportunity?
I like the way he played tonight. Decided not to go with him in the second half because I just felt we needed to tighten things up a little bit. He got unlucky. He happened to be in there when White went crazy, so he's a big minus. But on looking at how he played, the shot he hit at the end of the first quarter was an enormous shot, and he's come a long way professionally. Lloyd just asked him if he'd be interested in playing in the Madiance game tomorrow, just to sharpen up his game, and he said, yeah, sure. So he's going to play with Madiance game tomorrow at 12:30, which is awesome, and that just shows a lot of growth in a lot of areas, So, but I've been very impressed, over the last really 2 months. His readiness, the way he prepares himself, all those kinds of things.
I want to go back to what you said about Aaron. You said he's reading the game better than he ever has before. I guess how so? What is he seeing and processing maybe that he hasn't?
Well,
that he's doing better at?
Some of it's just, our system. The guys he's playing with, they know him, he knows them. People are, zigging and zagging at the proper time, and his reads are good reads. He's not getting in many situations where he's in crowds. He's going from, a ball fake to a paint attack and then a jump stop and then the right pass out for either an open three or the hockey assist, So, as you move along in your career, so he's, 4th or 5th year, whatever it is, the game slows down and, you can see things more clearly.
So obviously talk about reading the game. Tyrese, I think 12 assists, 1 turnover. His assist to turnover since the break is absurd. I mean, obviously he's always been good at that, but what's he done taking things to kind of a next level in terms of his distribution? And
I was concerned coming into this game because Miami, we get home at 3 a.m, and then last night a bunch of us went up to Ames for the banner, for being, one of like 7 all-time Olympic people that, from Iowa State. And then, for me, the experience of being in that gym and seeing that crowd and the intensity and the college atmosphere was something to behold. It was unlike anything I've ever seen. But, we stayed for the whole game. Then he talked to their team after the game, stuff like that. So, instead of beating the crowd with 5 minutes to go in the game, which was, the hope of of probably me. I'm probably the only one that did because I'm concerned about getting him home. Instead of getting home at 1, we got home at 2. So I was watching his minutes a little bit more closely today, but he played extremely well. And the high assist, low turnover games are just becoming, part of his calling card. Oh, James Boyd's here.
Yeah.
Prepping for Tuesday?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But the steals for Tyrese, what do you think of just his ability to be in the passing lanes and what's kind of transpired over the last few games for him to continue to kind of rack them up?
To be in what?
To be in the passing lanes, Tyrese, the steals.
Well, he's always been great at anticipating. I mean, if he was a football player, there would only be one position for him, and that's free safety. He just has great anticipation. He sees things. He reads eyes, all that kind of thing. He just has a knack for the game. But the great thing is that he's positioning himself very well within our system to make those plays on the ball. They aren't gambles that are overly risky, and that's really, really important.
When I made 3 threes in a row.
Take me through that moment on the third one, especially. I saw you had a
Yeah,
little moment with yourself. How are you
Yeah.
feeling, especially because that was the first time you guys really created some distance on the scoreboard all night?
Yeah. I said it earlier, just, it feels good to continue to get my rhythm back, get my shot back, get my feet under me. So it's coming back game by game, and it feels good.
How much did the All-Star break help you with all that stuff you just described and feeling like yourself again?
It helped a lot. I took the time I needed to kind of let, it rest, let my ankle rest again. Was able to get some rhythm shots up and kind of find my groove back a little bit. So it was helpful.
What have you thought of the way you guys have defended the last couple games, and what flipped for you guys at halftime on that end today?
Yeah, we made a point. We talked about it at halftime. They were on pace to score 130. And that's not something we're standing for this year. So it was at the forefront of our minds going into the third quarter, and we did a better job.
To keep going on that piece, I mean, how do you think you guys got better just keeping the ball out of the lane in particular? They were obviously able to get it there a lot.
Yeah, they were driving the slots well. They were getting paint to corner and wing threes. And so we kind of just had to, guard our yard better at the point of attack and keep them from penetrating. And that kept, it kept the scramble from happening and the possession from scrambling.
Rick said he thinks you're reading the game better than you ever have. Do you agree? And if so, how do you think you're seeing the game differently and better right now?
It's all reps. The more reps you get, the more, playing time you get, the game slows down, you get better. And it's also a credit, to teammates finding me and putting me in good positions.
I guess where are you seeing it different? I mean, I think he was talking about drives and paint touches and kickouts and stuff like that. I mean, like, what are the things that you're seeing better?
When the lane's there, when I can be aggressive, when I need to move, swing it. One more is, when I need to just catch and shoot and space the floor. It's just becoming more simple, dominating the simple.
Do you see there being an added, not pressure, but do you feel like there's more of a responsibility on you to score when Ben's out, basically? It's one guy, and obviously that's something that can be spread out, but does it? I
think it's, reading the flow of the game, and if the flow of the game requires me to score more, then, that's my job to do so. But, like today, the way the game flowed, the way the ball moved today, it required me to take more shots and, shoot the open ones, and, that's what I did, and I made them.
I think we talked. I think it was before even last year that being able to dribble drive more was a big point of emphasis for you. How far do you feel like you've come just really over the last 2 years, I guess, as far as knowing when to attack and being able to change direction on a drive?
Yeah, getting better and better. Getting better. Still working on my pace. I still got a lot of things to improve on. Being able to get in the paint, slow down, and make the proper reads. But it's coming along, and we're getting better.
I know you talked about 3 threes, but when you make those shots, what's it like to see the reaction from the bench? How do you think that kind of adds to just the momentum of the game?
Our bench is huge, and people say it all the time. We're fun to watch, and I think it's a huge reason is because I see how much fun we have on the bench. Whenever somebody makes a play or dives on a loose ball, like we jump up and we get ecstatic for each other, and it's fun, and we can hear that from the floor, so it just gets our energy going as well. Appreciate it. My bad.
That's all good. You mentioned kind of the shift at halftime. When this team is the best version of itself defensively, what does that look like?
5 guys talking, moving, making plays, and rebounding. We got to rebound the basketball and limit them to one possession. And I think the better we get at that, the better our overall defense will become too.
I think just understanding, to win that game, it was going to be the first team to get some stops, multiple stops in a row. I thought we did a good job of finishing possessions, showing our hands. We were sending them to the free throw line a lot in that first half. Just trying to do a better job of defending without fouling and getting down and running. And, I thought we did a good job in the second half containing and, allowed us to pull away.
What about the way that they were defending allowed Aaron to be as open as he was, and what did you like about the way he took advantage of those chances?
Yeah, they moved kind of a corral blitz on me in the second half, and they were doubling Pascal on every catch, so we were just trying to make the right play, and, he was just open a lot of times and just making shots, It's good to see him keep getting in his rhythm, and, he was amazing today on both ends of the floor, so kudos to him, great game.
He had a busy last couple nights, but I'm curious what you thought of the Cena heel turn.
It's really exciting. I'm really excited about it. I appreciate you asking me that. That's actually what I really want to talk about today. I'm really excited. The Rock and Cena are like 2 of my favorite wrestlers. So them coming together is a special time in WWE. So I'm really excited to see, where this takes us.
Well, I'm asking you about not the game. I'm curious about your thoughts on the conversation about the face of the league right now and the way that all that is being covered of late.
Yeah, that's a lengthy question. I could have a lengthy answer. I just think, that's for fans to decide. Guys just go out here and perform, and you see over the course of time what gives guys that face of the league title. But this isn't something that's not something that like has been in the hands of many people. You know what I mean? Like LeBron's been the face of the league for 22 since the day he stepped foot in the NBA. Before that was Mike, and it's not like it's a thing that just changes and it's multiple guys. It's like once in a generation type guys. So that's for fans to decide. I think where our league is right now is a lot of parity. We've had different champions every year for the last I don't even know how many years since 2019 since the Raptors title. So our league is in a really good place, and this is the deepest our league has ever been from top to bottom. So there's many different guys you could put in that category, but it being the face of the league is all about who wins the most. So whoever it is that can string together a few within a decade, or string together a few within a certain amount of time, it'll be them. But like I said, it's not something that has changed. My whole life it's been one guy. So somebody will separate themselves, and but that, again, that's just fan commentary, and I am a fan as well as a player, so I enjoy seeing that. But it's more for that's like barbershop talk. Like we're not in the locker room like, this guy's the face. Like nobody cares. That's like I said, it's more like barbershop talk. So understanding that, and everybody just going out and performing every night.
Since the break, you got 69 assists to 6 turnovers.
Nice.
5 straight of double figures.
Nice.
Moving on. What do you feel like is just coming together as far as your ability to distribute and stay away, not give the ball away, basically?
Yeah, it's trying to make the right play. I know I've been up and down this year, but this is what I do. I pride myself on taking care of the ball and getting guys open shots, and we got a lot of guys making shots right now, so that definitely helps. And the ball, just the way our system is, what we've built here the last few years, the ball is always hopping, and guys are trusting me with the ball in my hands, and I'm just trying to make the right play.
I think, to go back to Aaron, Rick said that he thinks he's reading the game better than he ever has. I mean, can you see that from your standpoint, and how does that look to you? What is he?
Yeah, he's just prepared. I think. Sometimes when you're hurt, it can be a blessing in disguise because you can just see the game differently and see where you can impact the game a little differently. I thought he was doing a really good job of, his shot fake resets, getting his feet back under him, and just making shots and doing what he does, spacing the floor for us. And he always makes sure that we're getting to the next action, moving the ball. So it's been really good to to have him back, and that's why he's a big part of what we do.
And Rick was talking about going to Ames last night and just said it was one of the coolest experiences he's seen, seeing the banner fall and everything. What was that like for you, basically? Just what was that, just the whole moment and scene for you like?
Yeah, super cool moment for me. I think, not long into my second year, I realized I was going to go to the NBA, and understanding that, I probably wouldn't get my number retired. I kind of was at peace with that and accepted that. But, I love Iowa State. I got a lot of love for that place. My dog's named after the city. Met the love of my life there. Some of my closest friends are from there. So I have a lot of ties to Ames, Iowa, and it just means a lot to me. And so the fact that I have something in in such a legendary arena like Hilton Coliseum, and, it's going to be there hopefully forever, as long as somebody doesn't go up there and take it down, it's really cool. It means a lot. And it also means a lot that George Niang, obviously one of my closest friends, took the time out of his schedule to come and support me as well. And Coach Carlisle and, IY and some other of my friends, were able to come. And that meant the world to me, because all those people are part of my journey and part of, why I am where I am today. And, I just have a lot of love for all those people. So it definitely meant a lot for me. I haven't been back to Hilton since since senior night of my sophomore year, so definitely a special time to be there. I miss college basketball. I miss the atmosphere. It was a lot of fun.
So to kind of piggyback off that, when you are in these moments, you don't have many opportunities to look back. So what is it like to reset, and then how quickly do you kind of all right, this was last night, now I got a game today?
Yeah, so I think part of the reason Coach came with me right when we landed, he was like, just make sure you have your mind right to play tomorrow. So I think part of the reason he wanted to coach was make sure my mind was right. But I think that, the great part about the NBA and the great part of, being able to be fortunate enough to make the amount of money I do is that, I get to find time to do the things that I love, and, on our off days. And this organization allows me to, do those things. Last year, I, didn't fly with the team for a preseason game to go to a WWE event, and, this year right after a game I went to a WWE event, and, I was fortunate enough, Coach allowed me to go to Ames yesterday, and we had an off day, so I was able to go watch those guys. So it's a beautiful part about the NBA, just being able to, still do what you love, and while also focusing on the season. So, I think that's a time where, going to Ames is definitely an ego boost, for me to see my name up there, and I think nostalgia might take over a little bit there. I've hearing that I was like a legend at Iowa State is funny. I was only there 2 years and we weren't very good. Me and George always joke about we're like, where are the Iowa State highlights? We're like, there weren't any for me. But I think that's the beautiful part about being there is, I get a lot of love from those fans, and Cyclone fans. You don't really understand it until you're in it. Nobody travels like we do, and the love I get from the university means a lot to me. So it was really special for me to be there and quickly get my mind right to play today, and meant a lot for me.
Ty, you guys really turned it around on defense at halftime, after halftime. When you guys are the best version of yourself defensively, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think, getting up, pressuring the ball full court. We're trying to mix that in right now, see how we can do it at a high level while also getting back. We were getting killed in transition a little bit, so we kind of haven't been, picking up full court as much. But I think the best version of ourselves you'll see come playoff time, I'm assuming, will be, getting up in the guys full court, just flying around, making extra efforts. We got a lot of different guys who do a lot of different things well on defense. So I feel like that pressure is what kind of, separates us from the rest of the league. And then just flying around, making extra efforts. We got a lot of young guys. We're really deep, so trying to play fresh bodies as much as possible.